Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Dicepainter. I'm joined for a very rare and special guest in Matt Jarvis.
Not
Who,
that rare. I
yeah,
do
yeah,
pop up occasionally,
yeah,
you
but
know.
on Dicepainter, like, you've only been on like a few
It's been a
times, you
little
know.
while. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
been a
been a
little
little
while.
while, so I think it's a special occasion
I was
personally.
off. I've been off. I've been busy. I've
And
been
I
doing other
should be
things. I've been
off,
aging.
but here we are.
But it's good to be back.
Yeah, no, it's been a little while since we've done this. Both, to be honest, in general and together. So
Mm.
it's good to get back in the old swing of things. I just sent Matt a picture. I'll show it on here as well. Actually, just sent Matt a picture of the ridiculous setup I do when I'm painting at home. Now that I've got this big box, but it does make it look real good. So I'm just gonna put this on the camera so you can all see it at home. Oh no, it's upside down. So I have like I've got this tiny little nook where I sit, and then I've got my big box, which I'm currently tapping on right now, with the microphone, the keyboard, the mouse, my drink, and then all the stuff in the box itself. It's a pretty ridiculous setup, but that's where we're at right now. So Matt,
It
I'm
is
gonna be
impressive.
carrying on with Yndrasta, but you've got
Yeah,
some
I wasn't
special
sure
brand spanking new things.
what to paint. I think the last few times I've been on, I've painted Infinity, which I'm slowly getting through. I was like, you know what? I think I need to paint something that's not Infinity. So I've been playing, as anyone who's listened to the podcast will know, I've been playing a lot of Descent Legends of the Dark for our review. I've still not finished that campaign. It's very long. I've played a lot of that game, but I think there's still a bit to go. But I have decided to paint one of the models from Descent Legends of the Dark. And specifically, at the moment in my hand, I've got
I love her
Bryn.
helmet. Her helmet is
Yeah, her
amazing.
helmet's very good. She's also great in the game because she just wields a massive warhammer, so she
Sick.
does crap loads of damage. She's quite slow, but she hits extremely hard when she gets in contact. So yeah, I'm going to start painting Bryn for what it's worth. So here's one of the trays of the stuff that comes with
Oh my
Descent.
lord!
So you can see the heroes are kind of like this grey plastic.
And then the
Um,
enemies are the creamy one.
Yeah, I'd mentioned this on the podcast, but actually, Descent Legends of the Dark. The box is behind me. You can't see it on camera, but it's like this massive box, and I thought it's going to be full of miniatures. It's going to be one of those games, like the modern Kickstarter games, so it's just like here are 400 miniatures that you use once for one specific scenario,
Yeah.
then put back in the box and never use again. But actually, there are total of 2 trays of miniatures. And I think there's 4 of each enemy type, and then some kind of special ones for like the bosses. So there's one that's like a big, like winged thing. But generally they use them really well. So it's not overwhelming the number of miniatures in there. There's probably a couple of dozen, like 3 dozen maybe.
Yeah.
So I think they're actually pretty smart about it. So it's the kind of thing where my wife and I painted all of the miniatures for Mansions of Madness, including all of the
Oh
expansions,
my god.
because we really like that game.
Now
And
that's madness.
that's madness. And this at least feels achievable in that same way, where it's
Yeah.
like, okay, like there's not 50 of the same goblin, so it's not like you have to just do the same thing 50 times in a row.
Well, I do
Just
kind of
kinda-
like it when they have like, well, here's an archer, but there's like 8 different types of archer, and they all use the same miniature. Like so you've got like
Yeah,
a sniper, an arbalist or whatever.
yeah. So that's exactly what they do. So on the app, because it's a companion app game, it will say like Bandit Sniper or Bandit something else, and that will change the way they play in the game. But you just use the same miniature and use like a little color-coded block that sits under the bottom of their model, which also has grooves to make it colorblind friendly. So
Oh, that's handy.
yeah, but yes, so that is what I'm painting. I'm painting Bryn. I just feel like I think she's just called Bryn, but I always feel like she should have a title. She probably does have a title somewhere. Bryn, the Human Avenger, is what she's called.
The
So I'm
Human
using
Avenger.
the character card as reference.
Oh, she's got kind of like a bronzy armor.
Yeah,
To be honest, she reminds me of Inish. The woman on the front of that with like the big helmet.
yeah.
Yeah, she kind of reminds me of that, to be honest.
I'm very much into the helmet, I will say, and I know that, like I haven't read any other reviews of Descent because obviously I'm writing my own, but I've seen some people on Twitter kind of not being so up on the
Oh,
art style of it.
honestly,
And I
I
like
don't
it.
get it. Like,
I like it.
I don't
I'm all
think it's
for
even
it.
that controversial. Like it's just a bit more of like it's got an actual artist signature on it, you know, rather than just being like generic Magic the Gathering style concept art fantasy.
That's how I feel about it. It's like I went into it thinking like, oh yeah, like another fantasy dungeon crawler. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I've played like 100 of these. Like, we'll see how this goes. And actually, I found myself just being like, you know what? I like these characters. I like this world. I like the way it looks. I kind of dig it. The question is whether I'll dig it after 20 more hours of it. But we will find out, and you will find out by reading my review when it is published.
Yeah, and then I will play like a few games and I'll adapt your review and tell you you're wrong. So to catch you up, Matt, on the last one that we did of this. So this is Yndrasta, the Celestial Spear. She is a big Stormcast hero model. So I've given her like, so she's got this kind of brassy undertone already, which is kind of a base color. So you can see it on the base here. So I've used that as like the block of her armor, and then she's got sort of gold and silver highlights. And then we spent most of the stream just doing these wings because they took ages.
Yeah,
so I wanted to layer them up so you can see that they're almost like eagle wings. So they've got like a sort of, they go from light to dark to brown.
Yeah. Nice.
So I'm going to clean those up at some point during the stream, hopefully as well. But for now, I'm going to start painting the sort of terrain that she's standing on. So I've got like a sort of stone colour for the steps. That's what I'm on now.
Very nice. I see. A Rangerful asking if there will be a podcast tomorrow. There will be.
Yes.
That's the current plan. Last week's was cancelled due to a combination of holiday and illness.
So, yeah, we had, 2 people in on Friday last week? Because I was absolutely annihilated by what I think was a combination of catching a cold and the second jab side effects, which somehow coalesced into some kind of mega plague, which I'm still recovering from. So I was like completely on my ass from that. You were on holiday, Loli's was on holiday, so it was just me and Liv. And I was just like, look, because Liv had to do like all the videos last week as well, on top of, like running the podcast and stuff. And I was like, look, just get the list done, because, that's a good thing to prioritize. Don't worry about the podcast. Like, we can miss a week. It's fine. So I just made the executive decision to stop Liv from burning herself out in 1 week.
Liv is incredibly talented and works incredibly hard, but is only human like the rest of us at some point.
So that's why there was no podcast last week. So apologies for that. But we are slowly recovering. We've still got no Lolies because she's still off.
On holiday, to be clear. Not illness, before anyone worries.
And I believe Mia's off on holiday as well, right? Because it was her birthday recently. So
yes, we have a slew of team birthdays in August.
So we are gradually getting back there. We will be on podcast tomorrow, so don't worry about that. 3 live videos in a row. But yeah, join us for that. If you haven't been on one of those already, they're a good laugh. We, every Friday, do a live recording of our podcast. So we get to have like sort of audience interaction as we're recording, so you can ask us questions and all that kind of stuff. And also join in our stupid games that we now do.
And hey, if you've got a question for the podcast, wing it over to podcast@dicebreaker.com. Because why not? I might as well plug that while I'm here and we're talking about it.
Or if you can't think of one now, don't worry. Turn up to the live showing and we can grab some from the chat as well. Although obviously you're more likely to get your question answered if you email it to us, because we can read it beforehand.
Indeed.
Or we can go, ooh, I'm not answering that.
It's a risque question about board games.
Okay. So I'm just going to... I need to make an executive decision here, because there are sort of like 2 types of stonework here, and I don't know if I just want to do like a big amalgamous sort of like stone colour for all of it, or if I want to have like, because they've got like these sort of detailed plate bits sort of thing, so I don't know if I should do that in like a slightly different tone maybe. It's all very exciting.
I feel like your considerations of when painting are just like so far beyond me. I'm just like, I'm going to paint this bit brown first, then I'll paint the gold on top.
What kind of brown? Who knows? Whatever
It's
one I've got.
leather brown.
It's
I've got
Mornfang.
leather brown or oak brown.
Ooh.
And this is clothing, so it's leather.
Hey, having 2 different types of brown is a big step.
Yeah, I feel like that's once you get beyond just having leather brown and like steel, like silver or whatever, that's when you're really rocking with the paints.
That's when you're actually making decisions, you know?
Mm.
There's a dog going absolutely mental outside. I don't know why. Yeah, Angel Beat can hear it. Big thank you, by the way, to everyone who's turned up. I will say hello to Angel Beat, Titan Uranus, Han Solo Chewbacca, Scottish Wharf, Orangafall, Iron Scar, Iraean, Jeremy Rock, Huliex Angel, Troost, Checkerbeard, everyone who's turned up, Kobe Morris, Prismet George, Xenagil 180, Tim Phillips, Nathaniel Levy, Scott Perkins, all of you, thank you very, very much for jumping on in.
Yeah, welcome.
Good to have
and hey,
you.
if you got any questions or anything you want us to chat about while we're just painting stuff, let us know.
Yeah, here's the
Sit and hang
thing,
out.
folks. You're in a live chat. You can ask us a question whenever the hell you want.
Yeah,
You don't have to wait for the podcast tomorrow.
Yeah, if it's bad, we'll ignore you. So there's no risk. We appreciate all questions.
The only risk is you'll look like an idiot.
No, there's no such thing as a stupid question.
Have you been on that Reddit?
I dread which Reddit.
There's a Reddit called No Stupid Questions.
I have not been on that.
It's got some absolute gold on it. You know, as far as Reddit goes, anyway.
Yeah.
True says no such thing as a stupid question. Sounds like a challenge. It's wild seeing all the badges update to D6s now. As well.
It's 1 month, right?
Yeah. It's as quick as that. That beautiful pink D4 lasts only so long before you are thrust into the blue D6. Let's see what we got. Oh, we've got Liv. We have a Liv in chat. Hello, Liv.
Oh, hello, Liv.
Liv, everyone was complimenting how hard you work and how good you are. So it's very important that you're here and feel embarrassed.
I was lucky enough to see Liv and me in earlier this week because I popped into the office.
Ooh.
It was a very good time.
Oh yeah, you
We
did some Let's
recorded
Plays.
some stuff that should be up soon-ish, maybe.
Me and Matt recorded a little Let's Play today as well. Very
We
exciting.
did. Yeah, it was an interesting one. It was a you've never played, but let's not spoil the surprise of what one of us had never played.
We'll give some clues. How about that? It's
Sure.
It's everything's got at least 6 legs. that's the clue. Have a guess on what we've played.
I need like an orange.
An orange.
But
I've got some beautiful oranges here, my friends. But
Slightly like bronzy orange that I want. But...
Can't give them to you. Look at these fantastic oranges I have available for you. If you were just nearby.
But alas, I only have mythical orange.
Mythical orange. Oh, that's a great orange. That's a bold orange.
My favourite things about miniatures is just how over the top every paint name is. It's like you can't just have blue or red. It has to be like the bluest blue.
So I feel like
The
I talk about
bloodiest of
this
reds.
on every stream I'm on, but did you ever watch Strong Bad?
No, but I played a lot of Poker Night in Inventory.
Okay, so there was an episode of Strong Bad Email where he recounts this colouring book he had for an 80s band that he made up called Limousine, spelt with a Z. And it was called like the 1998 Girls Are Staying at the Robega Inn tour official colouring book or something. And it came with a cassette tape with a song called Colouring Inside the Lines Outside Your Heart or something. But he goes through all the colours that came with the book, and the names that he gives to them are literally the exact thing that you'd find in like a Games Workshop paint starter set. It's like skin flesh, tight shiny purple. It's so good. I love Strong Bad. I miss Strong Bad. I feel like it's one of those things where if I go back, I'll be like, oh, this is not as funny as I remember it being. So I'm just going to let it be my memory of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that. I feel weirdly. I started rewatching the Day to Day while I was off, and I don't know. I think it turned 20 or something. No, it must be more than 20 years old. It was before
Yeah.
2000, wasn't it?
It was old as
So
hell.
maybe it's 25 years old. But for some reason, I started watching the Day to Day again, and was just reminded that Chris Morris continues to just be an absolute comedic genius. It's just absolutely nailed it to a T in terms of kind of parodying news things. And the scary thing is, like, looking at it then, and it's like, now that's the kind of stuff that runs on actual news channels.
Yeah.
And no one bats an eyelid.
It used to be a joke, and now it's just real
Yeah.
life. Oh, hello, Toto. I tried to lock him away. He has returned.
One of the best parts of I think it was the first episode I watched a couple, but they do the kind of like person on the street going up to random members of the public and asking them kind of topical questions. And obviously it being, comedy show, they set him up for some, it's from the people that made all the celebrities denounce cake as a drug.
Cake is a made-up drug.
But there's one bit where they go to someone, they're talking about the law. So it's like, oh, should you enforce the letter of the law? And it's like, yes. It's like, what letter should the letter of the law be? And this person just thinks for a moment and is like, J. Like, okay. Just,
all right, thanks.
No explanation given, just the letter J. That's the letter of the law. It was incredible.
I do just love, like, because there are some people who you'll find in that situation and they can't not know the answer to a question. So even if you give them the stupidest question you possibly could, they'll still think of something to say because they still have to look like they're an expert. Oh, there we go.
Well, this has come out a lot more kind of gold than I was expecting. But
oh, really?
It's fine. I can roll that. Well, I mixed a bit of bronze and a bit of orange together because I was hoping to just kind of make the orange slightly more metallic, but
yeah, orange plus bronze does sound like gold, to be fair.
yeah, I was trying to get the mix right. I tried not to put too much bronze in.
Is this for her sort of orangey armor?
Yeah, but it won't. You know what? I think it's okay. I might just kind of touch it up afterwards, but as a kind of first coat, it's probably fine. The light in here is not great, so I'm going to use that as my excuse when this isn't all that.
You're right, Iron Scar. 100 men or more could not keep Toto away from me. There we go. As I'm starting to get rid of the bronze on the base as well, it's starting to actually make the armor look a bit more like it's supposed to be that color. Do you know what I mean? I have a similar thing with the goblins I've been painting recently, where it's like, no, yeah, that is supposed to be red. I know it's the base color that I've picked, but that is supposed to be red. They've got lovely bases on these models. These like massive staircases, because it's got loads of like reeds and little creeping vines and stuff as well. And I'll probably need some oak brown for that, Matt, but I've got a big old tree right at the back as well.
Yeah, that sounds like an oak brown.
It's not a leather brown, I'll tell you that.
No. I will say, so these Descent models, like I say, so it's Fancy Flight, which put out Mansion of Madness, and they did, so it's the Descent world is called Terranoff, and they did a miniatures game a few years ago.
Was that Rune
Wars?
Rune Wars.
Which I thought was a bit crap.
Yeah.
Like the gameplay itself was fine because it was basically just drawing from X-Wing, so it used this kind of similar movement template.
I was going to say, wasn't it the same as oh god, what's it called? Crap. The World War II memoir. Isn't it memoir?
No, memoir you play on a grid board, right?
On a hex, yeah.
So it wasn't hex based, it was ruler based.
Oh, okay. What am I thinking of then?
I don't know, hex-based miniatures game.
I don't know if it was hex-based, but it had spaces, and it was Terranoff.
There is Rune-bound.
Rune-bound? Maybe it's Rune-bound. I'm going to Google Rune-bound and see what it looks like.
They love a rune in Terranoff.
They're all about runes. They love a bloody rune, I tell you that.
But the miniatures in that were pretty nice. It was like, I think the start set was like £100. But
Yeah,
just
Runebound.
Terranoff
This is
as
the
a
one.
there we go, yeah. Like Terranoff as a world has always just seemed the most generic of generic fantasy, which was always kind of like, why are they trying to make this a thing other than money?
Is it
You know,
Runebound? It's Rune something. It was Rune something, and you had loads of big miniatures, and I'm pretty sure they didn't use a ruler.
weird.
Should have called it Ruler Bound, am I right, lads?
Ugh. Well, Rune Wars is the only one I remember, and it was like a rank and file game, so you had like trays of miniatures,
Yeah.
and then a big worm. But the miniatures in that were pretty nice. But generally, Fantasy Flight's miniatures have been of varying quality. Like X-Wing looks lovely, like pre-painted minis, but they'll cost you 30 quid a pop. But the Mansions of Madness miniatures were not great. They were very bendy. They would fall out of their things. So the ones in Descent Legends of the Dark are kind of, they come pre-assembled. They are single piece, I think PBC, but they're pretty well detailed. Like I think they're among the better miniatures they've done.
Are they bendy?
Very slightly. So they're not
Right.
the super brittle plastic. For instance, used in the Dark Souls board game, because that's the one that comes to mind. Because a lot of my ones arrived broken.
God.
But they're only slightly bendy. They're not the kind of, you know, like when you'll get some games and things will have spears, and the spears will be like
they've turned into
banana
bows.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of, by the way, a game that was very much a thing that happened to. The brand new edition of Khmer has arrived in the office.
Yeah.
And I'm incredibly excited to give it a go.
I know you're a big fan of Khmer.
I love Khmer. I love all of those games. Inish, Khmer, Cyclades, they're all fantastic.
Yeah, what's that trilogy called again? It does have like a name, doesn't
They're
it?
just called like the Matago Big Box games or something. Oh, sorry for all the coughing.
That's all right.
If it has good miniatures, it should have been called A Rune with a View to Simon Castle. Titan Uranus offers up RuneScape or Netruner. And Baron Bractus says Born to Rune, shamelessly stolen from Terry Pratchett's Soul Music. Okay.
So now RuneScape, I'm surprised they haven't done a game of RuneScape.
Yeah, why isn't there a RuneScape board game yet? That seems stupid.
It's just been around forever. I remember RuneScape. I tell you what, here's a story for you. RuneScape was when I was in middle school.
What is middle school? That's a very American thing.
So I think Bedfordshire, where I grew up, is the only or one of very few UK counties to have lower, middle, and upper schools rather than
Well, because I went to a high school.
junior and senior or something like that.
I went to is it
High
4
school's
plus?
American, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's very American. I went to a 4 plus, and then I went to juniors. I think it was like infants, juniors, and then high school, and then I went to a college.
Yeah, so I went to I went to like nursery or whatever, then lower, middle, and upper. But the upper was called like college, community college. So
Or like sixth form as well.
yeah,
But
yeah.
the confusing thing is I went to Luton Sixth Form College, which was a college that called itself a sixth form.
Yeah, see, I went to Samuel Whitbread Community College, but I did years 9 through 6th form there. So I never really understood when people referred to college.
Year
because I was
9
like,
was
well,
a
I've been
college?
to a college.
Oh my lord.
Yeah, it was very confusing. But anyway, yeah, when I was in middle school, my IT teacher, who, funnily enough, was in the news lately because she went through a terrible, terrible thing with sepsis, and is now a quadruple amputee.
Oh my god.
But raised like an incredible amount of money and awareness. Like she's absolutely incredible, Miss Costa. But she supported us launching a RuneScape magazine, which is the first ever bit of journalism I did.
There it is.
In middle school.
What grand beginnings.
I have Miss Costa to thank for a lot. So
I had a similar, like, you know, you always have one of those teachers who is just like, oh, the only reason I'm doing this subject is because you're so good.
yeah,
I had someone called Mr. Ridout at school who was our music teacher, and he was just such a legend. We used to call him Rid Slice. When we did we decided to do like a little not battle of the bands, but like a little gig almost on like a lunchtime, and we called it Ridfest. Right. I am now painting the oak or whatever log, which hopefully should be the last bit of bronze on the model, apart from the bits that I actually want to be bronze. So that should hopefully make the bronze bits look a bit more normal.
I think that's that. Also,
there we go. Can you hear "Welcome to Eurogamer" in the background?
Oh yeah, there's a few people mentioning in the chat as well.
Right. I'm not seeing anyone mention in the chat. I'm wondering if my chat is a bit behind.
You're on top chat rather than live chat. That's a mistake I often make. I have no idea
Is that
how
a
YouTube
thing?
determines top chat. It's like, what does that mean? It's like the algorithm deciding what's interesting. That's like, thanks, algorithm.
Oh yeah, what the hell? No, I
I've
don't
never
want.
noticed that.
I don't want top chat. Oh
Top
god.
chat.
The indisputable top chat. The way they decide is inscrutable. Top chat. Most just call it a waste of my time. Never see the chat when you're trying to be online. Top chat. Okay. Well, this paint is drying a lot quicker than the grey is. It's looking good though. Nice big brown log. I don't know how detailed it is on stream. It just look like a big stream of poop coming out of the back of the model. Well, if you're watching at home and you're wondering why you can't see every chat message that we read out,
You too may be on top chat.
it's more likely than you think.
It's fine. The only reason I really discovered it is when I dropped some absolutely incredible jokes in the chat and nobody responds. And I'm like, there must be something up here.
Somewhat.
These
something
are just
must
not
be going
getting
on.
the engagement they should.
There's no way that that incredible joke didn't land.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Eurogamer stream. 12 minutes. I'd like to start off.
Right, I'm gonna go close the doors.
It's just me and you now, chat. Well, I hope you're doing well and enjoying your Thursday/week. And if you're in the UK, I hope you're looking forward to the bank holiday that's coming up. Let me know, and Wills, of course, what you're up to this bank holiday. If you're up to anything particularly special, if you're just staying at home, if you're going to be playing some games, just let us know what you're up to.
Yeah, Zoe is also playing 12 minutes today, and I read a spoiler article of what happens at that game, and it is not good.
I have heard the ending is not great.
No, it's
I was
really
like, oh,
not.
that seems like a really interesting premise. And then people were like, oh, the ending. And it was like, maybe I don't want to play that.
Yeah, it's very like we're gonna do some real hard hitting, shocking storytelling.
Ugh.
Not for any reason, you know. We're not going to explore any of the themes that we bring up.
Yeah. Well, speaking of video games, I while I was off for my birthday, I took a few days off. I started replaying Final Fantasy 1.
Jeez.
Yeah, the first Final Fantasy, which is from like it must be from what 88 or 89, something like that. It's pretty old, but I've been enjoying it. But it's one of those things where I used to work in video games journalism. You also, your background is in video games.
Not in journalism, yeah.
Not in
journalism,
journalism,
work in the
but-
video game industry.
Yeah, but it's weird. Since I've left that world, I can actually enjoy games and be like, I'm
I
just
know,
going to play
yeah.
this for me, rather than be like, I need to play everything that's coming out. Just feeling the endless chase of trying to keep up.
I also have recently been playing some retro, not super retro, but like some older games. I started playing Skate again.
Oh, yeah.
I love Skate. I smashed it. Like I went throughout the entire game in like a couple of days. And I got so into it that me and Zoe have bought skateboards.
Oh wow, incredible!
Yeah.
Have you played Ramp
I don't
on
think so.
Steam? It's like £3, and it will last you, I don't know, maybe half an hour. Depends how much you get into it. But it's like this really small indie game, but it's like a very minimalist skateboarding game where it's just your kind of like character and.
Oh,
a
Toto,
half-pipe
Toto, what are
on
you
a
doing? Get out of there.
Oh.
Why are you in there? What are you doing? Oh, God, he's going to pull everything over. Ah, Toto!
He's in the machine.
Why are you doing this? Why are you down there? Get out. Come on, out. Out. God's sake. Sorry, carry on, man.
No, that's cool. But it's Ramp is this like very small. I think they describe it more as like a toy box or a sandbox of skateboarding. It's just built to be this very specific little thing. But it's kind of like an isometric locked perspective, and you control your skateboarder. The controls are pretty simple, and then you just pull off tricks on a half pipe. Like there's no score attack mode. There's no kind of like tapes to collect or anything like that. It is like one ramp depending on which level you pick.
Speaking
like
of
big...
tapes and Tony Hawk, which is where that comes from, have you seen what Tony Hawk has done recently?
What Tony Hawk, the person?
The person, yeah, Tony F. Hawk or whatever his name is.
No.
So he's recently started selling skateboards that have been painted with his own blood.
Oh my god! What?
It's pretty wild.
Is he conducting a ritual of some kind?
I don't know.
Summoning another Tony Hawk?
There's just a picture of him like having like an entire vial of blood taken out.
He just absolutely had it with people at airports saying, "Are you the Tony Hawk?" And now he's out to summon some kind of galactic entity.
Tony Hawk's Pro Existentialism is one of my favorite new video games, to be honest.
That's what happens if you pull off a 1080. Just split the rift between worlds.
But like it has been brought to my attention recently because Lil Nas X made a sneaker deal, and the shoes had like drops of blood in the art or something, and like because he is not Tony Hawk, because he is in fact a white non-white queer person, he got absolutely like torn apart online and being called like a weird like degenerate or whatever. And it's just the hypocrisy of that. The fact that no one gives a crap when Tony Hawk does it. But it's quite funny. Tony Hawk's making blood skateboards.
I think there are like a number of music records that have people's blood pressed into them, I want to say.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not completely up on blood-related paraphernalia, but...
Liv says, if I get the official Tony Hawk Pro Blood Magic board, will I be good at skating? You'd be...
That's how it works,
You'd be pretty upset if you weren't, right? If you'd signed some kind... I guess you have to put your own blood on top of it.
Does it not work like vampirism? Is that if you consume the blood of Tony Hawk, do you not gain all his skills?
That sounds more like Space Jam than it does vampirism.
I've not seen Space Jam.
You've not seen Space Jam?
No, in a long, long time is what I'm saying.
Oh my god, Toto, why are you up there? I swear they're just trying to distract me. What are you doing? He's like, don't jump. Oh my god, Toto. Okay, hold on.
All right.
Do not jump over there. What are you doing? Get down. Get down.
Truce, you need to consume the whole board to gain its power. I can only assume that's it. You have to finish the whole board. Crunch your way through that wood. Decks and all.
Oh my god.
Get the trucks.
Oh.
Chewing on a truck for 17 years.
Honestly, the fact that like Holly only zooms alone is a blessing. These two just egg each other on.
Yeah, we were chatting about cat zoomies before we came on because Holly, my cat, was having a little zoom, but now she's gone back to sleep. She's just sat on a little tower there.
I wish these two were asleep. They're going absolutely bonkers in the background.
When I was in the office, my wife texted me a picture of Hole, and Hole had just sat down next to my chair where I work at home. And it was like, when the Futurama episode where the dog comes and stands up.
Don't.
It was like that.
But even sadder.
Even sadder. It was real life. She's a very clingy cat.
Yeah.
She's very emotionally needy.
Toto is as well, to be honest. I call him the big gay baby. Right. It looks like they've calmed down. So I don't know if you guys know the layout of this flat, but like the place where my desk is like in the middle of like a big sort of flight of stairs. And Toto was on the banister at the top of the stairs, which is like a story high, and was thinking about jumping onto this tiny little fuse box that's hanging off the wall, like above the drop. And I was like, you are going to kill yourself if you do that, mate.
Cats are just incredible. Like I absolutely adore cats. I've had them all my life, but they are both the most kind of graceful, survivable, independent creatures, and also just complete fools.
Just the biggest
So much of the
idiots
time.
going.
Like Holly has full on jumped into a glass window, trying to catch a bird that was outside. Bear in mind, we are on the third story of a block of flats.
Oh yeah.
So she just smashed into this window, just like a proper boonk. And then the bird obviously flew away, and then she just turned around and was like, meow, as if we cut off this invisible force field to stop her.
Do you have some kind of
outside.
explanation for what just happened,
Yeah.
Matthew?
And she falls asleep on the arm of the sofa, and then will roll off in her sleep, and then kind of shout at you as if you pushed her. Which is great. It's great physical comedy, but also she would just not survive outside. She's got a real thing about reflections as well. She'll chase reflections incessantly.
No, I would absolutely love to let Toto out, but he would literally die, I think.
Yeah, that's what we were saying about Hull. Because we are hopefully moving soon to somewhere that is not 3 floors up.
Yeah. The problem is, it's like, when they've been not outside for that long, they're just not really equipped, you know?
Yeah. Well, when we adopted Hull, we specifically were requesting cats that could only be indoors, basically.
Yeah, same for us.
So for a while, we were looking for FIB positive cats.
Yes, yeah.
Which, yeah. But we ended up with Hull, and we've had her now for about 5 years. 5 years, something like that.
The Jarvis cat is not called Hole.
Sorry,
Short
her
for
name is
Holly.
Holly, but yeah, we call her Hull. Sometimes Holster. That's like a.
That's quite cute. Well, this has come out quite a shiny tree.
It's just well watered.
It's even shinier on the camera
It could
because you got
like the
full LED.
reflection off of a bronze,
What?
like illuminating light. I don't know.
Object source lighting. I would love to be able to claim that that's what I'm trying to do. Okay.
Did the Golden Demon happen this year, or was it?
I don't know. I don't like follow it live, but I have that Instagram account followed where it just posts winners, you know.
Yeah,
And
I'm kind
I
of
just
the
go,
same, so I
God
don't follow
damn
it
it.
closely, but I just look at them and go like, wow,
Yeah, how the hell?
there are some incredible talents out there.
Okay. Right, I've done the tree. I might come back to it in a bit. Let's just one bit.
I think Bryn's hair is like an auburn, which means I'm gonna have to play around with orange again.
Well, that's good. There's this so the article I read about 12 minutes. I think it was Kotaku or something like that, but it was very like, this sucks. And you had like the usual crowd in the comments being like, you can't have subjective opinion in a review, and like did that about 1 million times. The author was just like, this isn't a review. This is just my opinion.
And yeah, I mean,
First of all, yes, you can. But second of all, I'm not publishing a review.
That's literally what a review is.
Yeah.
Like, I've never understood that argument. It's just a very kind of, and to be honest, it goes the other way as well. We get a little peek behind the scenes. There's a lot of people refer to our news stories as reviews.
Yeah.
Which is very odd because we are very careful about, like news is news. It informs. You know, it's not necessarily something Like we're not casting an opinion a lot of the time because we haven't played something ourselves, so we're not in a position to be able to make a judgment call. We can't play everything. So yeah, it's very strange when you see people like, oh, Dicebreaker reviewed our game. It's like, your game seems cool, which is why we covered it, or there's something interesting about it, you know. But it doesn't necessarily mean we've reviewed it. Like, please don't take this as like a purchase recommendation. It's more of a general kind of informing.
We get that for the lists as well on the YouTube channel, where it's like it's a bit more of a, because we are recommending the games.
Yeah.
But it's like it's not a review. It's just me saying like, here's what the game is. I think you should play it because it's good, which I guess is kind of a review, but it's more of a recommendation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just sort of like, you know, the actual quantity of reviews that we do, I guess, is not massive.
Yeah, I think board game media as well. There's like a weird blurred line sometimes between what constitutes a preview, what constitutes a review. Sometimes people refer to even like how to play videos as reviews.
Yeah,
I've seen before, which is where, you know, every site handles things differently, but we have quite strict guidelines around that kind of thing, for very, you know, particular reasons. In that, like, certain things will be purchase recommendations, certain things we obviously do sponsored content, but so we're very careful, particularly around that. Like you know, if we preview something, then it's more of a, hey, here's this thing, here's how it works. You know, will then need to go and do your own research on whether you wish to buy it or not. Like,
yeah, or like here's our sort of general thoughts based on the info we currently have. You know.
Yeah. So yeah, we're very careful around that, but it's always interesting. I think the world of online media and influencing and so on has just led to the kind of disintegration of some of those lines, which sometimes isn't a bad thing, but sometimes can just mean that for people like who are just scanning YouTube or something like that, if you're not familiar with a site and how they defined like something versus something else, like a review versus a preview versus whatever it may be, I think there's potentially room for confusion there, which
I'm a big fan of.
We try to avoid.
Big fan of Titan Uranus's stance here. I've never had a subjective opinion in my life. All my opinions are objective facts. That's very much the camp I'm in. Okay, so I'm now doing. I just realised there is some more stuff that I need to paint before I can say that there's no bronze. I'm doing like the cream inside of the kind of cape skirt thing that this lady has.
Oh, I've got a lot of blue paint on this brush, and now it's all over my fingers. I don't know how. Oh, there's some on the edge of this little palette that I'm using. That's why. That's fine. My fingers all wash clean.
Oh Jesus! Okay. This is a very awkward thing to paint.
Not to go through onto my Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship game mat that I use as a kind of general working surface.
Oh my god, not your Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship game mat.
I know.
Did you get that from the Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championships?
Yes, I did. I was covering them one year for the publication I worked on at the time.
Have you ever played a Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship game, Matt?
I've never competed in the Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championships, but I did see the voice actors for Yugi and Kaiba act out a game of. I may have mentioned this before because
you've
always
mentioned
funny
it a few
to
times.
me.
It's like your favorite story.
Always funny to me. Yeah, just like voicing over cards being played, but not playing the cards themselves. There were like people dressed in like those kind of invisible like morph suits that they sometimes use in theatre.
Oh god!
So they were playing the cards, and then the two voice actors were just saying like, "You've activated my trap card," and things like that.
I play Pot of Greed and draw 3 more cards.
Exactly that. Like exactly that.
Kaiba.
It was very funny to me.
So I don't remember a whole lot from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. Was Kaiba's whole thing as a character just, I'm very rich?
To be honest, I'm not 100% up on it either. I've not watched it in a long time. Weirdly, my wife just reread the entire manga.
Wow.
I don't know why, because she has never expressed kind of any affinity for Yu-Gi-Oh! But we just decided to go through the whole of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's not very long, the original manga. But yeah, I think it is something like that. He's basically just kind of like a posh kid. Comes after it. Doesn't he tear Yugi's grandfather's Blue Eyes White Dragon in half at one point?
Yeah, he's got like one very expensive card or something, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I have actually now been watching Avatar, by the way. I've watched 5 episodes of Last Airbender.
Yeah, important to clarify, you mean Last Airbender rather than the James Cameron film.
Yeah, God, yeah, no. I thought you were just going to talk about Korra. Yeah, I watched season 1 of Korra and I didn't agree with their politics. I thought they kind of screwed it, but enjoying Last Airbender so far. But also, I mean, it's like it is still a kid show, obviously, as Liam was saying. I think on the podcast, like there's still elements of it where you're just like, yeah, this is for children.
Yeah,
but it's still good. Right. Okay, I'll probably have to come back to this, but let's get some more purple on there. Fanny Levy says there is no Airbender film. You can't tell me otherwise.
yeah. I will say that not speaking of live action adaptations of animated shows, that Cowboy Bebop show is looking surprisingly promising.
Yeah,
I mean, Netflix doesn't have a great track record with turning anime into live action series, but
so I saw someone talking about this, and they were like, the costumes are great, but it's still got big sort of like fan film energy, like because you don't like the costumes are not what made Cowboy Bebop so good. You know, it's the sort of tone and the like general vibes of the show, and the writing and all that kind of stuff.
There can be that element as well where if they try and copy things that were animated to begin with and therefore didn't have to behave like realistic cloth, that it ends up looking like odd cosplay where it's like this is very clearly like someone in foam, like a foam kind of body or something.
But it's also just like I think part of the issue is that like the whole style of Bebop is so like intrinsically animated, like the like whippy transitions and all that kind of stuff. Like I feel like it will look kind of awkward if you try and do that exact same thing in live action. So I don't know.
Yeah, but we'll see. Like the casting seems solid, although no Ed as of yet. Which
I think they said that's like a sort of a thing that they're not going to be touching in the first season or something, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, I suppose it doesn't come into it till later, but just feels odd. But yeah, we'll see. I think also it's that. I mean, it's the classic thing, right? Of like, does this need to exist? Like, Cowboy Bebop still is there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I rewatched it recently with friends, and it's like this is still fantastic. You know, still ahead of its time in so many ways, and animation is generally timeless.
Yeah, none of this crap needs to exist, but like. I'd be much more interested in people like adapting like interesting, you know, novels or like manga or something like that. You know, like stuff where like
never existed.
Exactly, yeah, stuff where you can actually make something new out of something that people really like. You know, like The Witcher was like a big deal because it was the first time the actual like novels had been adapted, but.
Yeah, well, I think there was a Polish film.
Okay, sorry. The first time the novel's been adapted, but like with a big budget, you know what I mean? Like, it was...
Isn't there that animated prequel that just came out as well? Which
is there?
I'm kind of intrigued to watch. Shadow of the Wolf, something like that.
I don't know. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I believe it landed on Netflix recently.
Okay. Doing a very sharp edge here, so I need to be careful. Oh, that went surprisingly well. Do you ever paint something you're just like, oh?
No.
No, you're always just like, oh.
I think like I know that I am on a very different level to, for instance, you or Johnny, or like I am not a great painter, but I still enjoy it. So like I think that's why I'm quite excited about Descent, because the Descent art style is quite like cartoony, like almost cell shaded, so it's like quite a few flat colors, so it doesn't involve loads of detail, because that's often what intimidates me.
When we did, we did what's it called? The Darkest Dungeon miniatures. I actually had a great time with those because they are like really like block colors, like quite stylized. So they're really fun to paint.
I think that's hair. I'm going to paint that as hair. It's quite difficult to tell.
Okay. So I'm not a big fan of the cream that's come out of on the cloak, so I might go back in with the colour that I usually use for that on the other Stormcast I've got, which I think is Rakar Flesh. It might be Pallid Witch Flesh. It's one of the fleshes.
One of the fleshes.
It's skin flesh. Let's try Rakoff. Rakoff is a bit of a go-to for me. It's a good sort of like creamy off-white colour. Simon Castle says, taking the chat back a bit, but for the record, I ended up just looking at the Kotaku article on 12 Minutes that Will's mentioned, and whoo boy. Yeah. If there's anyone here that doesn't is interested in playing 12 Minutes, but maybe isn't super into like dark, edgy, gritty storytelling for dark, edgy, gritty storytelling's sake, I'd recommend maybe just checking something else out. I am quite excited to see you to download Psychonauts 2 though, which is on Game Pass.
You know what? Psychonauts has never been something that's... It's not that I don't like it, it's just that it kind of passed me by. Like, I tried playing a bit of it, and I think I came to it late and was just kind of like, maybe at the time this would have worked for me, but... So yeah, it's weird, I have no affinity for it, but I feel like Double Fine games, I always am just like, I love the concept of this, and then I play it and I'm like, I've had my fill. Like, Brutal Legend was the closest I got, or like the furthest I got through any Double Fine game.
Yeah, I've had a similar experience with them, I think, because even with Psychonauts, I tried the first game way late, got there like well after everyone else had already played it. But I had a good time with it. Like, I like the world. I like the premise. Like, they do really fun things with sort of like the way that people's brains work, sort of thing. So like, you go into the brain of someone who's like a conspiracy theorist. So they're like super paranoid that they're being watched and stuff. So that when you go in their brain, it's like a sort of normal suburban sort of like aesthetic that everything has. But like every single member of the like NPC crowd is like a guy in a trench coat pretending to be something else. So like the lollipop lady is a guy in a trench coat with a lollipop, and it's like, it's really funny.
Yeah, see, I feel like I did because I love jazz punk, and that felt like something that...
It's got very similar vibes, yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like maybe it was just the timing of it for me.
So my only concern is, because I don't think I finished Psychonauts. I think I got relatively far. I don't think I finished it in the end. My only concern is that I'm going to start playing and be like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I have not followed this from the first game.
You would hope that, given the time gap between the two
Yeah.
games coming out, they would make it accessible for people who've never played the first one.
Yeah.
Because
That's what I'm anticipating, but we'll see.
there'll be a lot of nostalgia among those who have, but I would wager that most people, maybe most people, I mean, it's like one of those kind of cult things, right?
Yeah, it's like it wasn't like a massive financial success, but it was a big sort of cult classic.
Speaking of Tim Schafer pops up of Double Fine in that Dustbiters card game. Like,
oh, does he?
Kickstarter thing. Yeah, it's just Tim Schafer in that Kickstarter video.
Oh, interesting.
Because it's from various video game devs. Dustbiters, for folks who aren't aware, is like a card, basically Mad Max is a card game. But
it's a card game I've been trying to film for the past 2 weeks, but for various reasons, including illness, not been able to.
Yeah, but I think there's the folks that worked on. So there's half of Vlambeer, so not Rami, but is it Jen something? I'm so sorry, I've forgotten their name. But
I don't know who that is.
There's a member of Vlambeer, so of ridiculous fishing fame, etc. There's someone involved with Minute, the kind of short run 60-second game.
The little, like,
there's like some real kind of indie darling names in there.
Everyone but Phil Fish, because nobody likes him. Okay. Right. This is technically like a color complete model now, because I've got... Well, I need to do the reeds and stuff, but like I've got like a brown tree, grey stone. I've got the cloak.
Oh, wow. It's looking great.
Purple. So now I just need to make it look nice. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick non-oil wash over the stonework. Thank you for joining us, Hansel Chewbacca. Hopefully see you on the next one. There was a PSP or PS Vita that came straight after Psychonauts, so I imagine 2 will have to do... Pardon me, will have to be separate or do summary of 1 and its next one, says Emmy Little. Yeah, I think, yeah, so Titan Uranus says there's a recap at the start of number 2 that covers both the first one and what I think Emmy Little is talking about, which is the Rhombus of Ruin.
Oh, wow.
Which is a great title.
It's like a Kingdom Hearts 3 thing where it's like there are actually a dozen different Psychonauts games, but they were all mobile games.
Oh, I was thinking Peace Walker. That was my go-to example. Right, okay.
What do you mean not everybody played Portable Ops and Portable Ops Plus?
Peace Walker was a fantastic game.
Yeah, it's great. We're discussing Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah,
we were wondering what Peace Walker
what
is.
the hell's going on.
While I was off, actually, my wife and I went through all of our stuff because, like I say, we're hoping to move soon, so we're trying to cut down on things. And generally, physical media is something that I have had a lot of over the years. Like I used to have about 1,000 DVDs.
Oh my god.
I no longer have 1,000 DVDs.
Yeah.
Because my stuff is available. That's the thing. But one of the things I do have is a complete set of Metal Gear Solid games.
Yes.
Including all the variations.
Subsistence. And,
Subsistence, Substance on Xbox as well, which which I lost at one point and then had to go find another copy of.
Oh my god. Yeah, I kind of want to play number 2 again, actually.
Metal Gear Solid 2?
Yeah.
Oh god, what a game.
Because like number 3 is hands down my favourite, but like I think number 2 is just like a really fun game. Like it's got like a lot of like it felt like a very polished version of number 1. Do you know what I mean? Like a lot of that sort of fun action stuff. Because in number 3, obviously, you go for the more sort of like creeping, slow stealth. Whereas in number 2, you're just sprinting around. Yeah, and as long as you're not in their vision cone, they have no idea you're there.
Yeah, it's short as well. My friends and I, for a number of years, when they used to come over, we would end almost every evening. They would be over. We would end by speedrunning Metal Gear Solid 2.
Wow.
Because you can do it in 2 or 3 hours.
Oh my god.
It's once you. It turns out once you skip those codec calls.
Yeah.
It can come down quite drastically.
Turns out it's just cutscene.
No, that's Metal Gear Solid 4. I will say I'm gutted the Metal Gear Solid board game was cancelled because Emerson Matsushi is like a fantastic designer. Did Century Spice Road, did Spectre Ops, like made some really, really good games. And it was meant to be out originally last year, this Metal Gear Solid game, and then it just got cancelled out of the blue.
Konami.
Yeah, but I think there's also rumblings of IDW, which is the publisher behind it, maybe just moving out of board games in general.
Okay.
So I will specify here, this is not based on anything I've heard. This is just anecdotal rumblings I've seen around the internet, etc. But yeah.
HB says never played any of them. They are quite niche, to be honest. Like, despite them being quite a big franchise, I think the majority of like people you talk to have not played a Metal Gear Solid game in their life. I don't think Zoe's played any of them. Like, they are like very weird games. But I think if you grew up with a PlayStation 1, like Metal Gear Solid 1 was like a pretty revolutionary game for the time. So it was quite a big deal. So I think it's just like the collective consciousness of gamers. Has quite a sort of like soft spot for the series.
Yeah, I want to say it was one of the first games that really tried to do the whole games are cinema vibe. Like, here are scripted cutscenes and this like very kind of strong, deliberate aping of like movie like tones and delivery.
I've picked the wrong wash for this because the brown is really showing up on this grey. But that's fine. They're just going to look like dirty rocks. Dirty. Also, I can use the... I'm using an Agrax Earthshade, if anyone's wondering, but I can use that on the log as well to give it a bit of definition. Make it even shinier, I imagine. But that's fine. It's very weird, like, having our very normal, calm conversations and then just hearing Zoe in the background, like, can I tie up his legs and kill him? There we go. Yeah, there we go.
I've decided to try and so Bryn's got this kind of like blue sash around her waist.
Okay.
I think there's kind of like a white, almost like a white sash or like a white like something, like piece of clothing also tied around the waist. So I'm trying to pick out which bits are white and which bits should be blue.
Is it quite a diddy miniature?
It's not huge. And obviously it's a board game miniature, so it's not nearly as detailed as kind of your proper full-on.
The kind of thing I'm painting.
Yeah. But like I say, they're pretty good quality for being a board game. And particularly, I mean, the price tag of Descent is large. It's 175 quid, but compared to some Kickstarters that you see out there, it's...
The thing is, though, like, I guess it comes with, you know, a lot of stuff, but like 175 quid for like some board game miniatures and some like cardboard terrain. Like, you look at some of the starter kits that Warhammer have, if you were looking for like miniature-y stuff, and like I think you can get a lot more for your money with that.
Yeah, I don't think that to be honest is part of the reason why the fact that I think it's good to see the story to its completion. But I think a big question mark for me in the review will be whether the longevity of it is worth that price tag.
Yeah,
there's clearly a lot of game there. You know, I've been playing for a number of weeks now. I've put probably somewhere in the realm of 25 to 30 hours into it.
Blimey.
Which is like a lot of time for a board game. You know, you think that's 15 to 25 1 to 2 hour sessions, which, like, for a board game, that's probably more times than a lot of people play any board game.
Yeah.
And I think it's very much going for that kind of like D&D feel of like you get together with the same group each week to play through the campaign. Like, setup is quick, like the app handles a lot of it. It's like a really good time. And so, like, I think Mian mentioned this on the podcast. Like, I think if you split that money between a group, you know, that starts to then look a bit more reasonable.
Yeah.
But I think that is the big question mark. It's like, you know, Gloomhaven has probably 100 hours of gameplay in it, and it's not cheap. It's 125 quid, I think, when it was released.
Yeah.
It's a very different kind of game, but you know, it is ostensibly a dungeon crawler. You could probably buy Gloomhaven and another dungeon crawler. Like, I am really, really enjoying Descent, but I think at some point you have to just acknowledge that that's a lot of money.
It's a ridiculous amount of money.
You could spend on other games that, to my experience, the gameplay it's good. It's solid. It's like very polished, but it's not revolutionary. It's not something you can't find in kits and starts elsewhere. You know, it's a little bit of Journeys in Middle Earth. It's a little bit of like Gloomhaven. It's a little bit of D&D. It's a little bit of this. It's a little bit of that. So
it's like,
you could potentially buy all those games and have all those separate experiences.
Yeah, it's like, you know, you one of the examples you gave there was Gloomhaven, right? And like 100 odd quid, but at the time that came out, it did feel like a really big, like, whoa, this feels like nothing that's come before. Like, it's so much in one box and kind of thing. Whereas, like you say, with this, it's just sort of like, yeah, this might be like a really nice version of that game that you've already played, but it is still that game that you've already played. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But again, I haven't tried it yet, so
Yeah, and like
He's sat
I
in the
haven't
office.
finished it, so that's why I'm speaking with kind of these caveats. But
Mm.
you know, it's not a legacy game. Gloomhaven is, so you could like sell it on or give it to friends, or whereas Gloomhaven, you know, you're tearing stuff up, you're putting stickers on things. It's one and done, even if that one takes you dozens and dozens of hours.
Yeah, like I don't know many people who would feasibly ever finish one of these games as well. I think that's part of it. It's like,
Yeah,
am I going to
think
spend?
that's a real reality?
Yeah, it's like, sure, I can spend 175 quid and say that's 25 hours of entertainment, but in actual fact, like if I end up only playing like 4 games of this and then never managing to get the group out together, pardon me, then you know that's a lot of money.
Yeah, but at the same time, like I say, I love Mansions of Madness to the point where we have painted all those characters. And I think actually, if a Mansions of Madness box came out at 175 quid with really good terrain and a better app, etc., 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 I'd spring for it. I've put, you know, dozens of hours into Mansions.
I don't know anyone who likes mansions quite as much as you do, though.
It's relatively popular, right? Oh, I just noticed Bryn is like standing on something on this miniature base. Looks like a little like a little like dog demon thing. I think.
Okay.
It looks like a dog, but it's got like a bat wing. Hold on, let me see
Ooh.
if the camera will pick it up. Oh. It's not quite focusing. But it's right at the front of the base. Oh, it's really not. It doesn't want to play ball.
Yeah, I can sort of see a bat wing.
like-
I like the colours you've gone for, by the way. They look nice.
Thanks. I'm hoping it works out all right.
Actually, do you know what? I just poured out like a pasty yellow, but I think I desperately need some green on this model because it's all very beige. Maybe like an olive drab kind of colour for like a swampy green.
Yeah, I love a bit of olive drab.
Olive drab. Drab is such a beautiful adjective to describe anything.
The color olive needed a better PR person. You going with drabber? Are you going? Yeah, you going with
Drab?
Sure,
Okay.
sure?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right then.
You do know what it means, right? Yeah. Okay.
To be fair, it is quite a drab colour. You can't really complain.
Yeah.
Okay, let's paint some little creeping vines. Okay. Okay. I'm actually starting to get into the fine details part now.
Ooh.
For a lot of my models, I always go for very muted colours, you know what I mean? Like, I need to get better at doing sort of bright, vibrant things.
I think that is something I've got into the habit of, because like I say, I do a lot of flat colours, so it's just like, you know what, I'm going to put purple and green on this.
Yeah.
Why not? Because I'm going to look at it from across a table most of the time. I want it to just look and stand out.
I think the problem is like, when you just do sort of browns and greys and beiges, you don't need to really understand colour theory to make something look good. Whereas as soon as you get in some bright, bold colours, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, those two do not go together, and I've already done half the model. Oh, Toto, what are you doing? Stop being a menace. Come on. You can't stand not being the centre of attention. I think he's getting confused because both me and Zoe are streaming, so he doesn't know which camera to hold. Okay. So for anyone watching, I'm doing these sort of little hanging bits of greenery here.
Sammy J says, seeing people shake paint gives me anxiety. I've seen what happens when you forget to close the lid properly. Yeah, that has absolutely happened to me on more than one occasion. In fact, it has happened, I think, on one of these streams.
Oh,
I didn't give it away at the time, but I just ended up like splattering things in my flat with brown paint and had to clear up after. I think my microphone had it. I think it was, I did a stream with Johnny. And yeah, like I only really realized afterwards and was like, oh, right.
There's brown everywhere.
Yes, there is paint everywhere.
I had so I have never shaken an open paint bottle, but one thing that I have done countless times is Citadel make these like tall shade pots, and they are like engineered to fall over. So like you put them like this and you just like that, and because it's full of this watery liquid, it goes everywhere, literally everywhere. So everything has just got this like black inky wash all over your table, and it's just like, oh god.
Yeah,
And they charge like £5 a pot for it or whatever. So you know, it's like the artificial aging of Apple tech. You know, they know that those bottles are going to spill, so you'll have to buy another one. Stop it. Come on, go away. I'm constantly on Toto duty now.
The life of a cat owner.
Oh, it really is, especially when you stream. Honestly, though, he'll spend the whole day asleep, and as soon as he hears me talking on camera, he's just like, "Oh, it's time!
Yeah,
It's time for me to come and ruin things."
Holly is the same, although because my wife is off work because she's a teacher, so it's on holidays. So I think having her at home has been very helpful because the cat now doesn't spring up at the first kind of noise that I make, because otherwise I'm working in silence like normally.
Yeah.
Unless we're on a video call or something like that. But obviously when my wife is here, I'll chat to her. So it helps because the cat then isn't like, something's happening. It's time for me to awake.
I need to be involved.
Yeah. You know what? I might do a bit of worm purple on this old demon.
Ooh.
That Bryn is standing on. I feel like purple is a quite demonic colour.
Yeah.
I say, as someone who absolutely loves purple, I would wear nothing but purple. Just put me in that like velvet suit that Willy Wonka wears in Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka, anyway.
Yeah, I quite like the purple as a colour. I love painting with purple, as you can probably tell from the back of this model. But yeah, I think purple is a difficult colour to pull off, to be honest.
Yeah, you definitely need to be like sparing with it at points.
Yeah.
This one as well is like a really dark purple, so.
There we go. Right. Nice sloppy green.
Ooh.
Again, I've used the exact same colour palette as every other big model I've ever done. Which is just muted browns, greys, and beiges. Every time I sit down, I'm like, oh, I'm going to do some really bright colours this time, and I never do.
Yeah. Has there ever been a model that you're just like, I would love to get that if it wasn't so expensive or big or?
I'm actually hoping Games Workshop will send one over. But that new Orc Vulture Rider.
Oh yeah, that thing looks
the brand
great.
new main character for the Orcs looks absolutely balling. I'm so keen to paint that thing. Feathers are a nightmare as well, but I just like, I can never turn them down. Like I love massive bird creatures. They look so sick. Because I think one of the first like big showstopper models that I did was a Lord of Change, which are the big, for anyone who's not seen them, they're the big sort of Zinch bird creatures. So they have these massive like blue, like fading into cream wings, and they look so good. Sloppy greens is a classic British staple since Titan Uranus. Yeah. It is. That is kind of our culinary go-to.
Yeah, turkey twistlers and sloppy greens. Eat up, kids.
Hoisin crispy owl.
Have you ever looked at the? I know you're not as into 40k as you are Sigmar, but like the Adeptus Titanicus stuff.
Oh, what, the massive mechs?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the or Adeptus Titanicus, the robot priests.
They're just the massive mech things, I think.
No, okay.
Adeptus Titanicus, I think, is the game. So.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm not super into the giant knight models. Like, they're all right, but I'm not really a big mech head, to be honest. Like, so I'm not a weeb. So I
knew it was coming.
But I do love the tech priests. They're like the only good Empire models, in my opinion. Like the the weird like robot wizards. I think they look great.
I think there's one that's like £1,000 or something on.
Jesus.
Was it? What's the something Foundry?
Oh,
no, Forge
World or something.
Yeah. I remember wonderful contributor who I believe now works at Games Workshop, Luke Shaw.
Right. Yes.
We chatted about it at one point, and it was like, oh my god, that thing is just ridiculous. The idea of spending £1,000 on a miniature is. And even
honestly, Matt,
calling
the
it a
idea of spending
miniature, I
£1,000 on
think
anything
is.
at this point is just anything superfluous. Where the hell did I had a little paintbrush cap that I've just completely lost. Where have I put that? Oh, that's gone. Right. What a nice fine detail one. Because I'm going to try and add some highlights to these feathers. Okay.
Very nice. I'm painting this demon dog in red. It's red with purple wings, and no one can stop me.
Red is a classic demon colour, yeah.
Yeah.
Corn styly.
I mean, I said it's a demon dog. I don't think we've encountered any demon. No, there are some wolves that pop up in Descent. There are like, I think they're called wolves and not wargs.
Wargs.
They pop up every now and then. Oh dear, this is very watery. It's red paint.
Oh god. That's a weird little bit of string on my one. So what I'm going to try and do is, I'm going to try and paint like a light sort of off-white on the edge of the feathers to add a bit more definition between them.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if it's going to work, but, you know, we live and learn.
It'll go great. I believe in you.
There we go.
A little bit of...
I'm wondering if I should have done it on the other side now.
Yeah.
So I've got like, again, it's quite bright, this camera, but you can just see here, just doing like a sort of white edge.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Because the feathers are quite dirty at the moment, because I did like a big wash on them, so I want to kind of like lift them out of that grey a bit. There we go. Hello, Emma Benton. How are you doing? Oh, we're having a lovely time. Nathan Noah says, Wheels, where can I share my incidentally purple Otherworld thrall that I'm working on with the group? If you want to show us any of the cool things that you've been doing today, we usually, after one of these streams, will post like a little tweet and an Instagram post saying, here's like what we worked on today. Show us your stuff. So send us a tweet at Join Dicebreaker on Twitter and show us what you're working on. I wonder actually if we had some foresight, Matt, we can maybe add like a little section to these streams toward the end where we get people to send us stuff and then we can just go through the Twitter thread and just say, oh, that looks really nice.
That's a nice idea. We did that with the drawing stream.
We
right?
did, yeah.
Yeah.
Get a hashtag Dicepainter going.
The bad thing about painting this dog red is it kind of looks a bit gruesome.
Like a blood
Looks
pile.
like it's been flayed. It could just be because I've been reading a lot of Berserk recently, and that's quite grim. I say quite grim. It's among the grimmest things I've ever read. It's very hard going at points.
Yeah.
It's very good, but boy.
It asks a lot of you.
Oh, yeah. It's, yeah.
There we go. I think that looks good. Again,
Yeah, it's looking great.
it's so bright, difficult to tell, but yeah, I think that looks alright. Oh, I'm getting that classic, like, arch of my back is cramping up because I bend over so much to paint. Like an old wizard with a staff.
Yeah.
That's what I'll look like eventually.
Old Painter's Arch.
There we go.
I feel a bit sorry for this demon dog thing.
Is that a bad day, is it? Tell me something life.
See, I'm a big fan of when you sing those because I know you can actually sing. Very, very often you'll do the like Vic Reeves karaoke like approach, which is just like vocalizing.
What I prefer to think of it as is Elton John doing a concert from home during the pandemic, where he's gotten to a point now where he doesn't say words anymore. He just goes, "Damn you, damn, me." It's very good. Don't like good, baby. I think the quote was, "I'm Dill Dandin."
I'm Dill Dandin, yeah.
Oh, this isn't very neat. I wish I was better at feathers. I feel like I should look at some tutorials for feathers. Yeah, there we go. So I've done like a highlight on the edge of each of these feathers. I feel like a good tip, if you're painting models and you're not really into the whole like light sources and all that nonsense, a good tip is just to assume that all light is coming directly down from the top of the model, because then you always get the highlights in the right places. You doing a particularly detailed bit, Matt?
I'm trying to just get this demon dog, but because it's under her foot, it's a bit picky.
I can always tell when you're doing something because you just go completely silent.
Yeah, I'm like a notorious rambler the rest of the time, so I think it comes from years of working in magazines where you just learn to fill space. It's like, oh, this article needs to be 600 words, huh? But there's actually only 300 words of story here. No problem.
Oh, we've all been doing that since high school, I think.
Yeah, it's like the classic thing with magazines is like, it's either you need to cut down so you get very good at like cutting, and obviously you're on a print deadline.
Yeah.
So for years and years, it was like, at one point I was working on a weekly magazine, so you would be working within hours, and it's like, you need to fill this within the next half hour, or you need to cut this down by 600 words or whatever it may be. And I would always overwrite and always just have to cut down. So I got very good at just writing 4 times more than I needed. And then once it was on page, I'd be like, all right, it's time to just wield the scissors and get this done. But it's how I work.
Yeah, I'm very much not used to like word limits and stuff like that. Like, because with video scripts, it's very much make sure it's at least 10 minutes long, because that's what the YouTube gods require, and then that's it. Like, I'll go as long as I goddamn well please.
Yes, it's the danger of digital, like writing for a website versus writing for a magazine.
Yeah,
you're not technically limited on space. Technically.
Cut to Matt posting an article that you have to scroll so long for that it breaks your finger.
Look, if anyone read my oath review, I think my oath review, I started off as thinking like, oh, this will be 1,500 words. That seems a reasonable length. And I just had so much to say about oath because I really like that game and it's really interesting. So, and it's kind of the beauty of it as well. It's like, actually, you know what? I do have quite a lot to say about this. It's not going to necessarily take me more time to write it because I'm just, in the zone. It's different as well to being like, I absolutely respect freelancers who have to work to endless word counts.
Yeah.
It's a bit easier being on staff and just being like, well,
it's my website.
It's like the only person that will really stop me is me, which is dangerous. But it's better to give passion and so on the space that it needs.
Yeah.
And just be like, I need to hit an arbitrary word count.
I do think the the website is richer for just allowing us to go, do you know what, screw it, this is actually something that I really want to talk about for a while.
It reflects the team, it reflects what we're into. I think that's
Yeah, everyone please do not look at my t-shirt, I've just realised what I'm wearing.
Is it rude, Wills?
It's not rude at all, it's it's something I shouldn't be showing off on a Dicebreaker stream.
Okay. That's fine. You'll be thoroughly reprimanded after the stream.
The problem is, like, I think when I sat down, I was like, yeah, no, look, the logo's hidden, it's fine. And then I keep being like, oh, my back hurts, I really need to stretch, and then it comes back up. Thank you for Emmy Little for pointing that out. Just posted the demon to the Twitter feed for the current votes. All right, sweet. Yeah, let's have a little look at hashtag Dicepainter.
Oh wow, it's half full.
Everyone, please send us your stuff to Dicepainter so we can have a gander. That's hashtag Dicepainter, all one word.
Ooh. It's good ITV like reality show delivery there, Wills.
Thank you. I'm getting no search results. No results for hashtag Dicepainter. In that case, I'll look at our mentions because I assume that's where it's been put. Oh, wow. That demon model is incredible.
All right. Oh my goodness.
That's a really cool model, Nathan.
Yeah. Wow. That is absolutely stunning. I feel like anything I do now will pale in comparison, but in some ways the pressure's off.
Yeah, we'll never be as good as that, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. But in seriousness, I think, like, because I think people, kind of like me, like, it's easy to be intimidated by painting because, like, people can be incredible at it, but you just have to remember that it's like anything, right? It's like some people paint to be, like, incredibly detailed, but you can actually just paint to the level you like. Like, my models look nothing like yours because I stick to generally, like, flat colors. Like, I don't really follow a lot of techniques or anything like that. I just generally do them to a level that I'm happy with, that works on the table for me.
I think
that's perfectly fine.
I think there's something that's really worth saying is I saw an artist recently tweeting about this, and it might have been like a Tumblr post, repost, or something like that. But like one of the greatest crimes of the capitalist society we live in is that humans have had it drilled into them that they should only do something if they're planning to get good at it, and like you know, it's only like worthwhile if it's a skill rather than a hobby. So we all have this idea that like, oh, I can't paint, like I'm not good at painting and therefore I can't paint. It's like, no, you don't paint to like for prowess. You paint because it feels good, and like humans like making things. The worst part about the society we currently live in is that like you can't just make yourself do something for the yucks. Like it's got this horrible like ingrained tendrils in our brains that just make us go, well, you're never going to be good at this, so you might as well stop because that's the only purpose for ever doing something creative. And it's like, no, you do something creative because that's what humans do, you know?
Yeah.
It's just an activity we do. It's not for anyone else. It's just for us. It's just to feel nice.
Yep, I'm definitely guilty of this. It's like like ascribing value to productivity is a terrible, terrible thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It sucks. And some days I would just sit there frozen with like, I don't know what to do because I feel like I should be being productive, but also like I work like a lot. You know, I work really hard and I enjoy my job, and like my job is creative. So actually, at the end of the day, I'm kind of creatively exhausted a lot of the time because I've had to think about stuff all day, and I'm very lucky that is my job. But then you fall into that cycle of feeling guilty because you're not spending every waking moment creating something or putting something out into the world.
Yeah, another thing that never gets mentioned as well is that like the 40-hour work week was never designed for one person to sustain themselves on. You know, like you're supposed to have like, well, not supposed to, but it was built around the premise that you would have like a quote unquote wife at home to take care of all the other aspects of your life. So now we're all expected to do 40-hour work weeks and cook and clean and like look after ourselves and do taxes and all that kind of stuff. So when it comes to just sort of like sitting there and thinking, God, I just want to sit and just put myself into something, you know, I just want to do a bit of painting or drawing or like write some music or something like that. Like, stop trying to make something that's for other people, because it's just going to feel like the other 40 hours of your week, which is horrible.
Yep. Oh god, I love ink. I was like, yeah, I'm not sure about this model. Like, I'm not sure how I feel about it. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just slap some ink on it because it's
Make it look good.
25. Yeah, it is honestly, it's God's own water. As an atheist, it's the closest to God that we come. Like, it's really just picks out the details.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's looking really nice, man.
Mm.
I love the color
Thank you.
palette.
Oh.
Oh.
It's because I'm using behind the scenes. So I am seeing through Google Meet. I'm seeing the stream, but it's like a little low res on my end. So I was looking at that because it's bigger than the little preview window I had in the corner. But that was a mistake. But yeah, this has come out all right. I'm relatively happy with it. Which is
Chase is asking if you're painting wingspan models.
I assume he was saying that about yours.
Oh, well, we've both got.
You've
got a winged helmet, and I've got wings.
Yeah,
so.
I feel like brewing in wingspan would probably be a bad. There'll be many dead birds.
Yeah, I think. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my camera here and just mess with the settings in the background. Because I want to like bring down the brightness a little bit so you can actually see the wings. There we go. Yeah.
Oh wow! Yeah.
So I've just done like a bright highlight on the tips. It's still a little bit dirty, so I might go over them with whatever the base color was. But I just wanted it to come out like it's just hitting the light on the edges, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's looking really good, Wes.
Just makes them stand out a little bit more. So I need to figure out now what the hell colour that was. Whenever the hell I did it. Oh, and also, I've just realised... Oh, no, wait, no, that's this one, isn't it? Yeah, okay, never mind. I was about to say that I've... the little brush protector thing I was looking for was literally next to it. Oh, no, it is literally next to it. Here it is. Okay, it's all good. The problem is they're see-through plastic, so they're very easy to lose. So he's just shouting at the game in the background. Okay. So, what colour was that? I think I just used ivory, which was the brighter one. Off-white seems a lot brighter than that, even. Maybe it was bone white. Let's try bone white. See what bone white comes out as. Pulling out my little drawers.
Your station's really nice.
Oh, mate, you need to grab yourself one of these. They're beautiful.
Okay. I remember as a kid I had a literal toolbox. It was like a Stanley toolbox that I put my Lord of the Rings miniatures in. And I think I had like a little wooden painting desk, and I do miss it now.
I have
currently there just wouldn't be space, but
I have one of those those like Warhammer model boxes, the little plastic suitcases full of foam. I've got one of those somewhere that I've had since I was like 15. I used to have my paints in there, but it was an absolute nightmare. Okay, let's see how this comes out. Ooh, I think maybe that does look good. Chase Carter says, has the Black Library ever released a story about the barbers in the Warhammer universes? Because they always have such killer cuts. Zoe did manage to keep the stream PG. I'm assuming everyone can hear everything she's saying.
I can't hear it too much, to be honest.
There we go. I'm now adding individual lines to the feathers. These ones here. See that?
Oh, wow.
I'm hoping they look nice when I'm finished because this is going to take ages.
That's good from here. I've tried to dry brush, but it's not really come out how I wanted. I think I accidentally did it a bit thick. So it looks like she's kind of been hit in the face with a bag of flour.
Dry brushing is a tricksy thing.
I figured I'd give it a go, but it hasn't quite worked out, so I might just need to bring back some of the colour a little bit.
The thing I learned with dry brushing from the person who taught me about it is that you should brush it onto your skin, and if literally anything comes off and there's still too much paint on, because you're supposed to like build it up really gradually. Because especially with like pigments, it will just go everywhere.
Mm.
There we go. Again, I think this is working. Check if it's a Zoom might be filtering more than the stream is, but we're not hearing much. Just that one. What that stood out. One of these days I'm going to learn how to do feathers properly.
They look pretty good. It's always just an evolving thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just always like not quite right. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, what do I do to make this perfect? I think it's almost coming off a little bit tiger printy. I've been painting the other half of this set, so like the Orruk leader, and he's on this great gnash tooth, which is basically just like a big tiger thing. So I painted it with white fur and black tiger print, so it looks like a battle cat from He-Man.
Wow. Nice.
There we go.
I want to wait for him to see it on the fridge monitor because I don't know on a mechanical level if it can actually search me to find things.
See, now I've got the issue of I've almost finished half. Like I've done one half of the wings almost. So now I'll be able to look at this one and the other half of the wings and see exactly whether or not I hate what I've done. Now I just need to get behind the weapon. Okay. So chat / Matt, do you prefer this side of the wings with the little lining or this side without? I think the lines work. They're a lot more like obvious in real life.
It's hard to pick them out on the
Yeah.
stream that I'm looking at.
We might have done this. We might have got this. Let's not. Fingers crossed, everyone.
I'm trying to just sort of block the light a little bit so it's a little bit easier to tell. I might just drop the exposure even further. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay. So, dirty side, lined side. The fact that it's taking this long to tell makes me think that possibly there is just not enough detail to be able to tell.
I mean, the camera feed on my end isn't
Yeah.
too easy to see, to be honest. Particularly like a fine detail like that.
Emma Benton says, I want to say with, because you've already done the one side.
That's a very fair point.
Abby Little says, if we say without, how much would you hate us? I wouldn't hate you too much, because I think what I'd do is I would just try and go, like, add even more of this colour and just try and avoid the shadows. To just sort of clean up the tone a little bit. It's a tricky thing. Oh, screw it, I'm doing the other edge. I'm sunk cost fallacy.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
go for it.
Just give it to him. Just give it to him. Just give it to him.
Here we go. We are nearing the end of our stream, by the way.
Goes quick.
I think Zoe has almost finished the game.
Whereas
Although,
it's 12 minutes.
yeah, although I feel like she hasn't gone like, what the F? So I don't think she's seen the true ending yet. Because there's like 8 twists in that game, apparently. And they all suck.
A good time loop game, if you've never played it, is the Sexy Brutale.
I have played the Sexy Brutale. I really like the Sexy
Really good.
Brutale. It reminded me a lot of, what's it called? Ghost Trick.
Oh, yeah, I
Which-
replayed Ghost Trick recently.
Ghost Trick is like the best DS game that ever got made. Ghost Trick is absolutely fantastic.
Elite Beat Agents wants a word.
I never played Elite Beat Agents.
It's really good. If you love the song Walkie Talkie Man by Stereogram, you'll love the game Elite Beat Agents because you'll hear it about 400 times. But it is
I don't know
genuinely
if I
really-
like that song or not because I'm not.
It's
sure
a
what it
really
is.
great DS game. Oh, hi, Hole. You decided to get up right at the end, huh? This
Had to have at least
we
one
go.
little cameo. There she is. Is she a ragdoll?
Not necessarily, but she doesn't like to be held for more than about 10 seconds, but she
Yeah.
doesn't mind. She doesn't mind it for the very brief moment. She's never ever very grumpy as a cat. She's just very kind of
Docile.
yeah. She's never bitten, she's never hissed.
Yeah, same with Toto, to be honest. Toto is like, we call him the most patient cat in the world because we are constantly like picking him up and fussing him and being like, "Oh, Toto," and he puts up with our nonsense. So you must be semi-good at it. Oh god, I've done this side even messier than the other one. Okay. Problem is, you have to like, you do a paint job and then you have to mirror it.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want the one more choice friend. I want to solve the fucking game. Okay, right.
Just heard Zoe going, I don't want one more twist, I want to solve the effing game.
Fuck's sake. Oh, Jens, I don't want to get info about the real killer. Can we not just let him go? Can we not just do it? Let's just...
Here we go.
All right, I think I've recovered from the dry brushing incident. I basically tried to just go over it and I couldn't recreate my bronzish color again, so I've just kind of picked out in gold.
Mhm.
But I think it actually works. I don't hate it, which is good.
It is good that you don't hate it. I'm starting to hate these feather lines a little bit.
Honestly,
Okay.
Feel bad because I know that well, these streams are normally about us talking, but then I'll just, like you say, fall into lapses of silence where it's like,
I think we're both doing very detailed bits at the exact same time. Like these feathers, I do not want to screw them up anymore.
but hey, if you've joined us, you hopefully know what these streams are like. They're pretty chill compared to the podcast, where that's where all the energy goes. The
Yeah.
end of the week energy, just chucking a match into a room full of gunpowder.
A room full of Alex Meehan. It's not going to be an Alex Meehan tomorrow as well.
No, but there will be a Chase Carter, hopefully, joining us, a wonderful news reporter.
Which is wild. Okay,
there is much magic to discuss. There's a lot going on.
Okay, feathers. They have lines on them now.
Nice.
I think that makes them better. I'm not 100% sure. But it's done now. Can't go back. So... I feel like I'm going to do these feathers over and over again so many times that they just lose all definition. Just various wing-shaped blobs. Okay. Tell you what, let's add some colour definition. I'm going to get like a dark blue. Oops. And my light just
Oh, we got 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm going to add some dark blue to the handle of this weapon, which is usually what I do to just sort of mix it up a little bit.
Treat yourself to some dark blue.
Titan Uranus says, I maintain and repeat my previous point. If you're playing 12 minutes, you should stop playing 12 minutes and start playing Road 96. I really want to try Road 96. Have you seen that?
I'm not familiar.
It is, it's a road trip game. It's like a narrative experience game where you're driving down like an American highway, but it's not America. It's like a sort of like weird, like pseudo-American, like fake city kind of place. And there's like, I think you're running away from like a evil mayor or something like that. I don't know. I'm messing up the story, but the point is, you meet all of these like weird and wonderful characters on this road trip, and you might like get in trouble with the police or like having to like navigate through difficult experiences and all that kind of stuff. But the road itself is like procedurally generated, so you go through this sort of like Americana road trip where you're never really sure what you're going to come across, and you'll meet different characters along the way, and like depending on like when and where you find them and stuff, they'll do different things, and it sounds really cool.
Yeah, that's really interesting because I love Kentucky Route Zero.
I think it's got more of a cinematic vibe to it than Kentucky Route Zero, but it's
yeah, and the procedural stuff sounds very different. Kentucky Route Zero is very much like a relatively fixed narrative game.
Oh, this is a lovely blue. I don't know if it's just because of the colour that's underneath it, but it's come out really nice. I don't know. Again, like you're losing some of the colour on this camera, but I think actually that's really pretty. It's got like a real sort of like, it's almost shining, to be honest. Like it's like, imagine like jade if it was blue.
But not quite like topazy or sapphire even.
Yeah, maybe sapphire, maybe that's the word for it. It's got like a sort of navy tone to it, but it's really nice and shiny. It's really lovely.
This brown paint is not being my friend.
Is it a bit cloggy?
Yeah. Oh, that's why. It's because I grabbed another bottle by mistake. So the one I had already mixed up and made sure was well shaken was a different bottle.
Oh, sick. God, this is a lovely blue. Which one did I just pick up? Night blue, yeah. Azul Nero.
Just gonna try and pick out her little leather belt, which is very, very small.
Oh, God. The problem with these wings is I need to go through them so often to get to other bits.
You just find yourself like accidentally touching over a bit of other paint.
Yeah, I bloody hope not, because those wings are taking me so long. Maybe I should have done the staff first. Again, I'm painting bits that nobody will ever see. But I'm just that kind of guy.
Well, it's like you say, right? It's like you paint for yourself.
Exactly, yeah.
That should be the way. So it's like, oh, I'm really satisfied with this like tiny bit I did.
Oh god. I was very close to getting some blue on a other bit of wing there. Oh, really love that colour. If anyone's wondering, it is Night Blue by Vallejo. Really, really wonderful, like deep.
Sounds like a song. Coming up next, it's Night Blue by Vallejo.
And it's Despacito by...
She wore night blue.
Wow, this is such a beautiful colour. Alexa, play Despacito.
Oh, I'm struggling with the light.
There we go. It is literally like midnight, like the colour of midnight is gorgeous. Wondering if I should do like little gems. I'd quite like to do like a little gem here with this blue, like a little sapphire. Problem is I need to get rid of all the Toto hair.
Grab one, use it as a very thin brush. I don't think it will be. It's not quite stiff enough, right? That's why people say like using beard hair and.
Yeah, I've heard beard hair is actually really useful for doing like eyes and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that looks really nice actually.
You know what? This has come out all right.
From the bits that I've seen, Matt, it looks really lovely.
Thanks. It's, yeah. I've spent the last 10 to 15 minutes just recovering from dry brushing a bit heavily. Actually, I think putting a little bit of gold on it has just highlighted it anyway. So it's kind of worked out.
So yeah, as you can see, I've done like these little sapphires on her chest there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they look really lovely. Wondering if there's any other little bits now that would benefit for some blue. This is the thing, like once you actually add colours that really stand out to the model, it makes everything else just pop so much more because it's it makes it all seem so much more intentional, I think. Whereas if it's all the same colour, then it's just like, are you finished?
Yeah.
I'm going to have Despacito in my head all day now, by the way. Emmy Little says, Wheels, you activated my Alexa. Oh, God. That is always the end goal. To have someone scrambling to turn off some loud music. You're welcome, Emmy Little. Despacito.
Toy Machine said, "What's that sound in the background? Sarah teaching over Zoom?" And no, my wife is on some holidays. It's Zoe on Wills's end.
Yeah, it's Zoe who's currently streaming for Eurogamer.
Yeah,
one of the
more
other
F words than Sarah probably uses teaching kids.
I'm so sick of you effing little kids.
Little 4-year-olds falling in the toilet.
It's a goddamn multiplication table. It's not that flipping hard. I feel like that's how most teachers wish they could talk to some of the kids they teach.
Oh, probably.
What's that, Truce? Do you want Google instead of Alexa? Okay, Google, play Despacito.
Isn't it? Hey Google, play Despacito.
Hey Google, play Despacito. Emmy Little says it's not too loud, but now it must play, otherwise it'll stay in my head all day.
That's the rule. Once it's playing, you can't stop it.
Okay, this is very bold. What I'm about to do. I'm trying to do like a little detailing pattern on the skirt here. Oh, this is very fine. So I need to get like a little curve on it as well. Why have I chosen to do this? This is so silly. I think that works. I'm activating a lot of them. Oh god, it's too easy. It's like that. Do you remember when the Xbox, I think one, had voice activated commands?
Oh yeah.
And I think like they were advertising it, but anyone who owned the thing would play the advert and then would have it activated by the advert.
I have only owned the original Xbox, and most of my knowledge of Xbox comes from that clip of Usher saying "Happy Easter, Xbox."
What?
There's a clip of Usher just wishing Xbox a happy Easter.
Oh my god!
I don't know why it exists. I assume it must date from the original Xbox. When was
Yeah,
I feel like that was like peak Usher.
I reckon that's 360.
I reckon.
Yeah, I reckon that's 360 era.
Original Xbox probably too niche at that point. Didn't really do very well. It's too small for Usher.
The best thing about playing Skate, by the way, was the fact that because it's an older game, they just sort of emulate a 360 when you run it on Game Pass. So it has the 360 pop-up menus.
Oh, really?
It was such a nostalgia trip. It was so good. Okay, all right. It is 5 o'clock, Matthew.
It is. Mm-hmm.
Which means it's time to do a sit rep.
Show and tell.
There we go.
Yours looks amazing, Ross. I can see the wings now. I can see it. Yeah, that looks really good. I think that works really, really well.
I think they're still a bit mucky, but like I'll probably find some way of fixing them up a little bit.
I really like the effect, though.
And I've really got like a sort of... it's difficult to get the whole length of her because she's quite a tall model. I've got like a blue handle and some sort of gems in her armor now. And then I've done like a sort of swampy, mucky stone underneath her. Nice. I think I might need to do like a sort of a darker sort of ground texture. Although I've got really like burnt grass that I think I'll use for it because that'll make it stand out a little bit more.
Yeah.
But that is how far I've gotten.
Nice.
Oh, and then
I like the cape a lot.
For some reason, I decided to do little blue bits in the cape because I'm an idiot. But yeah, I think they look okay.
Yeah, that's good.
All right.
Here's where I got to. My camera's not as good as yours.
Oh, I love the colours, Matt. The colours are great.
So
I think you have got like a quite nice rendition of her sort of like brassy, yellowy, orangey armor.
Yeah, so I think it actually worked out okay. So actually, here's the character card which I can use as a background.
Yeah, perfect.
So I tried to use it.
It's almost like rust coloured, isn't it? Like it's...
Yeah, it was quite a difficult colour to match, but I think actually the little gold highlights have worked out all right. I'm quite pleased with that.
Yeah, I think it's lovely.
So yeah, there we go. We'll post a picture to Instagram and Twitter and so on.
Yeah. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please do send us a notification. Send us a message on Twitter with what you've been painting, because we would love to have a look. You can find us at @join_Dicebreaker, or you can show us on literally anything else that allows you to send us images. We've got Emmy Little using the hashtag Dicepainter. So Emmy's been building a desk. Did test markers. Did test some new markers. Excellent. So yeah, if you want to show us what you've been doing, you can either hit us up at @joindicebreaker on Twitter. We are /Dicebreaker on Facebook. I think we're all over the place. You know, if there's a social network, we're on it. So send us a little look at what you've been making. Doesn't have to be miniatures. It could be any kind of hobby and crafting stuff that you have been working on. It could be a drawing, could be a painting, could be whatever you like. But you can also use hashtag Dicepainter. And we're going to start actually looking at those on stream, I think, which should be quite exciting. So thank you very much to Matt for joining me. If you want to see more from him, head on over to dicebreaker.com, where you've got all sorts of fantastic written articles from him and the team. As well, you can also see more of me and all my coughing. If you stay here on youtube.com/Dicebreaker, please do hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the bell icon to get notified whenever we put a new video live. Or if you want to get notified whenever we do a stream, make sure you click that bell icon. It's really important for us. And you can find all sorts of links in the description below to things like our merch store, to sign up for Dicebreaker Plus, our membership program, and all sorts like that. So go have a look. Regale yourself with all things Dicebreaker. Have a fantastic afternoon, and we will see you tomorrow for the live podcast. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you later. And if I can find the thing, because it's behind the giant painting station, there's the outro button. Goodbye.
Bye.